that is a kind of parrot. So if you've never seen a parrot in real life before, you are about to see one now. Some of you might be wondering, what does a parrot eat? And where does a parrot live? Because parrots don't just live in houses like Miss Abbott's house. But this parrot is a pet parrot. Other parrots live in the wild. A lot of them live in South America. Some of them, actually, let me show you really quickly here. I have a globe that I like to look at countries around the world on. A lot of parrots live down in this continent called South America. Remember when we studied those continents? If you forgot, maybe that's something you can go back and look up. There are some parrots that live in the middle areas and lower areas of Africa. And there are parrots that live in the southern part of Asia and Australia. Parrots really like tropical areas, like rainforests, where it's nice and wet. And they also have enough trees to be able to go through and get their food from. It's also safer for them high up in trees because in the rainforests and jungles, there are predators at the bottom on the ground that wait for animals because that's what they eat on the ground. If you have any questions about what we've talked about so far, you can feel free to ask me those on Remind, or you can submit your questions on Seesaw. There we go. Okay, we'll be talking some more about adaptations and moving forward a little bit more with informational writing. Remember, when we're writing informational writing, that means we're writing to teach something. This week I gave you a nonfiction book called Nifty Noses. I read that to you. It's nonfiction because it's not fake. That means the information in it is real that we can learn from. And you can tell it's nonfiction by the pictures. I showed you some real pictures of elephants, some real pictures of, I think there was a fish in there. So lots of cool things come from nonfiction books. Now it's your turn to use the information in nonfiction books to write your own nonfiction paper. So that's going to be something important we start doing next week. Happy. Happy is, like I said, a blue front Amazon parrot, and I'm kind of scooting away because Miss Abbott's actually a little bit scared of birds. So this is Happy. She can actually say some words. And my mom is here. She's going to try to help us see if we can hear some words from her. Hello, Happy. Hello, Happy. Say hello, Happy. Pretty bird. Did you hear her say pretty bird? So parrots are one of the few kinds of animals that can actually speak human words. They mock what they hear and then they reproduce those sounds, or they make those sounds based on what they hear. And sometimes it takes them a long time to learn certain words. I've been trying to teach Happy how to say, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty," for maybe 10 years. And guess what? She still hasn't learned how to say it. Now, my mom is going to tell you some more important facts or real pieces of information about Happy. So what else do you know about Happy that you can share, Miss Abbott's mom?
Well, Happy is 35 years old, and that's really old.
And I'm going to pause right there. Miss Abbott's not even 35, so this bird is older than Miss Abbott.
But these kind of parrots, they live 65 to 80 years. So she's going to be old if she lives that long. She eats birdseed. It's mixed birdseed, sunflower seeds with other seeds. And she loves people food, fruits and vegetables. Pretty bird. Oh, pretty bird. And she loves to get out on her perch that's on a stand. And when she does, she wants people food in her dish. And whenever she sees me eating a banana or an apple, or I was having blueberries earlier for breakfast, she stood on her dish staring at me until I gave her some. Isn't that funny?
And guess what? Just like there's some foods that humans can't have, there are foods that she can't have either. And do you remember what any of those foods are?
She can't have anything with acid in them, like tomatoes.
Uh-oh.
And
Now we have another friend joining us, and it's Miss Abbott's cat, Dainty, our class pet. Do you know that cats like to chase birds, and they really like to watch them out windows? But we try to keep Happy safe because we don't want Dainty to catch her. That would not be good news.
Dainty doesn't like to chase Happy. She's her best friend, and she just wants to see her. And whenever Happy loses a feather, Dainty gets to play with it, don't you, pretty girl? Come on. Oh, she got scared randomly. But she loves Happy's feathers, and she's got a collection of them. And I tied some of the feathers on a piece of yarn, and if I trail that behind me, she loves to run after that.
Now, remember, some of you read in our science activities about how colorful birds are. And parrots are some of the most colorful birds on the planet. You can see one. I'm not going to point too close because she doesn't like that. Her main color is green, and she's also got some red on her shoulder, some red on her wings. She's got blue on the front of her head, which is why she's called a blue front Amazon. And I think that's all. I think she's got 4 colors on her.
Well, she's got navy blue in her wings.
Oh, she's got navy blue. That's a kind of blue. It's like a dark blue.
You say pretty bird.
Now, if you take a look at her beak is designed for cracking nuts and other things that they might find in the rainforest. She doesn't live in the rainforest, but she still uses her beak for the same things, the same adaptations. So she gets mostly seeds at home, like Miss Abbott's mom said, Mrs. Abbott, but it's used for the same things as she would normally eat in the wild.
But she has to get another mix too. It's kind of like colored cereal that has to go in there, because if she only gets birdseed, then she gets a condition called fatty liver, and she's kind of got that right now. That's why her beak is overgrown, and so are her nails. So she needs to go get her beak and nails trimmed. But she's a pretty bird, aren't you? Pretty bird.
Some of you might be wondering right now, how is she staying on Mrs. Abbott's shoulder? Why isn't she flying away? Well, the reason is some birds, when they are kept as pets, they have their wings clipped a little bit, just so that they won't go flying off. Sometimes it seems like it's not a very nice thing to do to birds that are kept in cages when they should be free. And that's why we try to let her out as much as possible on her stand so that she's not cooped up in a cage all the time, because that would make for some sad pets. Mrs. Abbott, do you know anything else about Happy that we should share with our friends?
Well, I know she likes to, sometimes she'll let me pet her, and you can't see them, but birds have ears right behind their eyes. Oh, I bet I can't get her. Come here. She, right behind her eyes, she's got a little hole in her head right there, and it's her ear. Can you see it?
So, another thing that we might talk about later on is how animals are able to hear differently. We talked about smelling and kind of eating with the noses this week, but ears are another adaptation that help them with that sense of hearing. We don't all have holes in our heads that look like that. In fact, you can't even see where her ear is because it's just a hole, and it's hiding behind feathers. But, like you've seen from Dainty, cats have big stick-up ears that lets them hear even better. And other animals, like elephants, have big, wavy ears. So each animal's ears are good for different kinds of things, or for hearing different distances, whether it's close up or really far away. Mrs. Abbott, do you think Happy will let me hold her if I'm really careful?
She might, but your arm up there.
She bites you, it feels like a pinch. And sometimes if you're not wearing clothes on your arm, it hurts really bad.
Well, I don't know.
Now she's running away from me, so maybe we won't hold her today.
She knows you don't like her, that's why.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Happy's got to get back to her actual living quarters because she doesn't know my room and she doesn't like being in here very much. And maybe she doesn't like me. I'm not sure. Maybe she can tell I'm scared of her. Some animals can sense that.
She can tell you don't like her.
Well, maybe just a little bit. So we're going to try to get Happy to say bye. And if you can think of any questions you want me to ask Mrs. Abbott about Happy or other parrots, then you can send those to me on Seesaw. You can record your question using the little microphone. Or you can just ask your parent to write me a note on Remind and ask me that way. And I will try to answer all your questions as best as we can, okay? So let's see if we can get her to say bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Happy. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
She doesn't see any food. That's why she won't say it. Bye-bye. There
she goes. All right. I'll see you next time, okay? Remember to try to practice Zoom while we're gone over the weekend so that when we start next week, we can start setting up real meetings with each other, okay? It was nice seeing you again. Remember to send me those questions, okay? Bye.
Bye-bye.